Pope Francis encourages bishops to have a zero-tolerance policy for any form of child abuse. The pontiff wrote a letter to bishops worldwide on December 28th. That's the Feast of the Holy Innocents. That was made public by the Vatican on Monday. Francis highlights the issues of child labor, malnutrition, sexual abuse, and asks for forgiveness for abuse committed by Catholic priests. Our Rome producer, Mary Shovlain, is in the house. She's here in studio with us today to talk more about this. Wow, it's great to have you across the way here.
It's so great to be here, Laura, finally.
I know. Well, we love your reports from Rome.
Thank you.
Pope Francis established an office in the Vatican for the protection of minors. He's met with abuse victims throughout his pontificate. What stands out to you from this letter? You've read this letter.
Exactly. Well, as you mentioned, he's met with the victims. He's established this office. He's made a lot of innovations in terms of the church's response to sexual abuse. But what stood out on this one was him explaining maybe what the sin actually is involved here, besides the obvious one. He says, first of all, there's the sin of what happened, first of all, that devastation of a child's innocence. But he also said the sin of neglect, the sin of the abuse of power by the clergy. This is the sin of not responding in an appropriate way to the allegations when they were made. And so I like that he delineated what exactly the sin, all the sins were.
And just said it wasn't just a blanket, don't do this.
Exactly.
It was just, this is how it breaks down.
Exactly.
That is very interesting. He asked them to renew their commitment to zero tolerance for sexual abuse. What does that mean for a bishop who's in charge of a diocese, for example?
Well, exactly. So you have to figure out there has to be a response. And in the past, the church and the courts have had to investigate what did a bishop know and when did he know it? And is he guilty of neglect in responding to these cases? So fortunately for in the U.S., for example, the USCCB, the Conference of Catholic Bishops, published guidelines in 2002 of how to respond, how to cooperate with the local authorities. And so they're given this national standard, and then it's up to the local bishops to implement that at the local level. But whether or not to implement it is not an option. The response must come, and if they will be judged on how they responded, and that's important to know.
Wonderful. Mary Shovlain, our Rome producer, you'll be back with us right here in studio tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining us.